Well, good morning, guys. Today is the day I start installing our SeeLevel Tank Monitoring System.
Gary, Stacy, Spirit, and Sophie, we're taking our motorhome around the country. Throughout North America, we're on the road. It's Powhana Travels, here we go.
So the SeeLevel Tank Monitoring System replaces the existing 1/3, 2/3, and full system that you see here. It'll give you a much more accurate actual percentage of tank remaining or tank left, or however you want to say it. So I've already gone through and identified this is my black tank, this is my gray tank, and of course this is the fresh tank. And these were the wires leading to it. I've labeled them appropriately. And this old system, I'm just going to cut all this stuff out. I don't need these wires here. They're just going to go away. So that's what we're doing next. So we actually purchased two separate systems, mainly because our tanks are so tall. They don't make a strip that's tall enough to fit the height of these tanks, so we had to buy two separate systems. And with that, I get two separate controllers, so I'll be able to replace the one inside the coach and then put a separate controller in my wet bay on the other side of the coach. So when I'm draining tanks or filling water or something like that, I can see where the tank levels are without having to yell at Stacy, "Hey, are we full yet?" You know, so it's a little easier to have that convenience of the second controller on the other side too. And now you can purchase just one system and position the strips on the tank accordingly. So this is the black tank, so I would want to see when it's full, so I would put the strip up high. And then on our freshwater tank, I want to see when it's empty, so I'd leave the strip down as low as possible. But we purchased two so we could have the separate controller on the other side, and then we get the full depth of the tank being monitored. So the sensors are coming off too. I was worried for a second. I didn't know if they actually went through the tank. So I kind of starting on top, and they don't go through the tank, thank God. I've got both the sensors, all three of the sensors off, the black and the gray tank. I'm going to leave the ones in the white tank just because they're not going to be in the way. These sensors were in the way of the strips, so I had to remove it. So now I need to figure out the depth of my tanks. Minus a ½ inch, so 16 inches. Now these are set up incrementally, so you can actually cut. Well, they don't want you to cut here, but you can start cutting here. You can cut through the strip here, here, and here to customize your length as well. These don't overlap when they're on the tank. They just come very close, something like that. So what you want to do is cut the strips so they're equal length and equal to the length of the height of the tank, if that makes sense. It makes sense up here. I'm not sure if it makes sense to you guys. All right, so the previous little monitors left a little sticky stuff on the tank, so I just want to take some acetone and work on cleaning that stuff off, so I get a good clean surface to work with. They say preparation of the surface is probably the most important thing. There's a ridge running through the tank. This is where the tank two halves are welded together, and the strips have to run right on that ridge. So I want to smooth that down as much as possible so it doesn't create any gaps. All right. So again, the tank is about 17 inches deep. They say minus about a ½ inch for the thickness of the top and the bottom of the tank. And then cut the strips so you can have that total length. So I'm going to cut them right there. Right there. This is the nervous part.
Measure twice, cut once.
That's how it should be. That's exactly. So, my cutting we will go. And now I also need to determine which one is going to be top and bottom, because there's little cutouts you got to do for top and bottom. I'm going to make this one top. So you cut this little tab out. And that kills the circuit. Top black. So this is going to go up here. And then on this one here, I just cut out the black, I believe. I'll refer to the instructions in a moment. So, I made the proper cuts for the length, and I've also cut the programming, they call them programming tabs, on the top of here. I'm not sure if you can really see those, but it says gray, top, black, and some other stuff here. By cutting the appropriate tab, it'll let the system know that it's top black tank. So I'm cutting the black tab off here. So that's basically opening that circuit up is what it's doing. And let me make sure this is cut enough. And I'm gonna duct tape these on first, just to make sure that they work. They do come with a really good, high quality 3M backing on here, and once it's stuck to the tank, it's not gonna come off without destroying the strip. So I want to use duct tape to position them properly and make sure that, and fine tune them if necessary. And I want to position just down from the top of the tank. You have to take into consideration the thickness of the material itself, the tank material. These, you don't, when you're stacking the sensors, you don't overlap them. You leave just a small little gap there. So press that down. Press that down. Okay, I've got the gray all installed here. I've cut the proper tabs for the top gray tank on the sensor here. Now I'm ready to install the fresh tank. And on these ones, all you have to do, there's no fresh tab. So the default, if you don't cut a tab, the default means it's fresh water. So on the bottom sensor here, I didn't cut any of the tabs out, but on the top sensor, I did cut out the top tab. And because this tank, I want to see the actual bottom level. I want to see how far down it goes. I want to see, like, there's 5% of water left. I'm going to place the bottom sensor first at the very bottom of the tank, so I can get a more accurate reading of how much water is left. So I've already acetoned this tank too, and I'm just going to place it right here about a ½ inch above the ground, or the floor, bottom, and stick it on. And again, I'm using duct tape right now, and once we get everything fine-tuned, then I'll go back and use the 3M sticky tape that they provide. This is as close as I could get to the top of the tank with the cutouts. And actually it's pretty close to this is the fill port here. So it's pretty close to the very top of the tank. We'll show 100% for a while before it starts drawing down. So the instructions are telling me to grab all the blue wires and connect them all together, and all the black wires and connect them together. The black is the ground and the blue is the sending wire. And connect ground to ground, which is this wire here, and then choose one of these wires to connect the rest to. So all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wires are going into one and up to the main control unit. So I got to go up front and see if I can see all these wires in my control box up front. What are you doing? I don't know. So here's my control, the old control panel. What we're doing is replacing the 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, all that stuff, and they're not showing anything because I've got them unwired. What I'm looking for though is my brown, my black, and I don't know if that's the correct white one or not. These wires aren't quite the same. Oh, Fleetwood is good. So I found my freshwater line. It says freshwater right there. You can barely read it. And I found this one says black water. So the black line is black water. And then this brown line right here is our gray water. So these 3 wires are the same wires as what's down there in that bay. And let's see, I'll probably, since the white wire is a little bit larger gauge, I'll just use that one as my sending line for all 3 tanks. Perfect. This might just work. Well, moving on to the next phase and wiring everything up. I'm gonna use crimped butt connectors, and then also shrink wrap or shrink tubing for the wire, for the splices.
Can I explain what you're doing?
Oh, so the wires need to be routed, the instructions say the wires need to be routed to the right of the sensor. Otherwise they may interfere with something over here on the left side, and also just to make sure the connections stay nice and firm. So I'm just taping the wires down so they're stay in place.
So now you're connecting the grounds?
Yes. So the black is my ground wire. This white and black is the ground wire from the original setup. So those two will connect. But before I do that, I want to run a second controller. So I'm going to take this extra, I'm going to take extra black wire and run it across the tanks over there and set up the second controller. So I need the information, I need the ground and the sending to the second one over there. So it's pretty easy all the way across, but I gotta figure out a way to get there. So for now, I'm just gonna hook up a spool of wire. All right, so here are all the wires coming from the from the tanks, propane, batteries, ground wires, and stuff like that. They all came to this big connector, and I cut everything off I needed, which is basically full wires, and spliced it all into the new connector that goes into the controller there. I use, well, let's see. Here's our the white wire here is from the tanks. That one was the sending wire from the tanks, and then I got ground wires. I can't really see it. The green one here is propane, but just tied them all into where they need to go. Use butt connectors again and heat shrink, And now we're gonna plug it in. This is the new control unit. I'm gonna have to get a new. Gonna have to figure out something to fill that hole. But we'll see how this works now. Let's go the right way. I haven't programmed it yet, so it's probably not going to give me all the information I want. But so it's showing me chassis batteries. It's showing 13.6 because I've got a solar panel and it's charging chassis battery. That's good. Fresh tank. This is basically saying, program me. I don't know what to do yet. Tell me what to do. So I got to go through and program all this stuff. But propane, we're at 63%. So hey, there you go. So let me finish up programming these tanks and see where we end up. Yeah, I believe I have everything programmed in here now. Battery showing fully charged. Fresh tank, 88% remaining. Gray tank, there's hardly anything in there. We haven't done any showers or anything like that, so it's showing 0. But remember, I had to set the sensor up a little bit from the floor of the gray tank, so most importantly, it'll show us when we're all full. Now, black tank shows 28%, which is about right. And propane, 63. So everything works great in here. Now the only thing, our old controller, let me grab it real quick. Old controller is quite a bit larger, and it showed the empty, 1/3, 2/3 full in little lights. So this is a lot smaller unit. It takes up a lot less space. So I'm gonna have to figure out somehow to mount it up here still. One thing with this one is I had the battery auxiliary and battery main. So on the new controller, I set the battery up to the chassis battery. So it's showing 13.8 on the chassis battery. And on my Magnum solar controller remote, I can see my house battery level. So I'm not missing anything here by having the double switch. So I've got my house battery here and I've got my chassis battery here. Could be a nice little setup.
Well, hey guys, it is now 2 weeks later.
Has it been that long already?
It's been 15 days.
Oh my gosh.
We are now parked in Sedona, Arizona.
Mm-hmm. So we've had a chance to dump our tanks and fill our fresh and kind of watch to see how the SeeLevel systems are working for us.
Yeah, it's actually been so good.
It really.
I now know it takes 13 gallons to run a load of laundry.
13 gallons?
13 gallons.
And I think I showered with 4 gallons of water yesterday.
I had 4 too.
Oh, all right, good job.
Yeah.
So having the SeeLevel monitoring system has been great for us. And we'll do another update down the road at some point. I can't tell you exactly when.
Actually, I can tell you that this Friday, we're going to do a Friday night chat.
There you go.
Live here from Sedona. This is Friday, February 23rd. Yes, Friday, okay. February 23rd. Our live chat is going to address our SeeLevel monitoring system.
Right.
So if you have any questions,
I was just gonna say that. If you have any questions, let us know. Keep them until then, and we'll answer that live, or keep them.
Put them in the comments down below. So we have a set of questions to hit before, in case it's people have plans.
Right.
And then if you catch the Friday night live chat after the 23rd, you'll still get to see all the answers that we provide from people that ask from you.
Sure.
That
so
didn't make
I
sense,
think it's been a great install. It was not that difficult at all. It a little bit time consuming, just kind of running the wires and all this and that, but for the most part, it was pretty decent.
I was very hesitant on the money spent for this monitoring system. I think it was every penny worth well spent.
I agree.
Alright guys, so if you enjoyed this video, please give us that big thumbs up down below. Leave us a question if you have one. We'll answer it this coming Friday. And until next time,
pow on, guys. As always, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up down below. Leave us a comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We thank you for watching.
Until next time, pow hana.